Well, hello. I'm so pleased to see you. There was no trouble getting here today whatsoever, thankfully. Although I am constantly looking over my fairy wings to see what the weather's going to do next, it is most disconcerting. Comes out of nowhere, it seems. Anyway, there have been a lot of meetings in my realm this week amongst the elders. There's a lot of talk going around that perhaps they're going to be choosing another leader. We usually pick somebody that's had a wondrously wonderful life. Somebody who can inspire. Somebody who can teach us and guide us. You see, it's most important to have a leader that doesn't control, but just guides, as we are all one singular heartbeat together, our clan. It seems your realm do things slightly differently. You have elections and somewhat odd polls to do. Doesn't always seem that fair, but anyway, as I said earlier, change is afoot. Now, let's get on with our story. Thimble and Blossom had been speaking to the wondrous tree spirits of Rocher. The dryads, no less. How wonderful! I know. After the three bade farewell to the spirits and thanked them for their kind words, Willa lowered herself to sand troll level, and Stefan climbed on her back and pulled both fairies up to sit behind him.
OK, Willa, let's ride to Valley Keep then, please.
And the beautiful horse rose up on her hind legs, and with a few flaps of her wings, they were soon soaring through the skies through the sandstone city. After Thimble had collected her belongings and Blossom had said a final goodbye to her sand troll friends, Stefan took them back down the long tunnels which led to the flatlands. He had supplied them with fresh fruit and water and sent another troll ahead to act as a lookout. When they were sure the coast was clear, Blossom and Thimble were lifted by the troll back up onto the sandy stretches of the flats. It was another full moon, and the night air was cold. Stefan hugged his friends and insisted that they come back and visit any time. Willa flew overhead and sent a magical wave of energy which hugged them all as she headed off towards the opals to find her beloved Leaf. And everyone smiled and vowed that no matter how far away from Valley Keep they were, they would remain friends, always. And with that, Stefan vanished down his tunnels, leaving the two fairies alone on the flats. I know. I like him too. Thimble remembered the route back to the thicket of trees at the other side of the flats, and soon they had reached the protection of the leafy cover. The wind had picked up and the leaves above them rustled as the branches swung in the night air. Underfoot, the dry woodland floor crunched, and the occasional fallen branch snapped, making the little fairies jump. They reached the opening where the trees had been chopped down into stumps and decided to rest there. All seemed quiet, and neither of the fairies felt afraid of being in the home of the flatland trolls at all, which was quite odd, as they had been most fearful on their previous visits. And suddenly, the feeling of calm didn't feel quite right to either of them.
Do you think it's unusually quiet,
Thimble? Asked Blossom in a whisper. And before Thimble had a chance to answer, there was a noise of breaking sticks behind them, and Thimble found herself caught in a large net which belonged to the biggest troll she had ever seen. Goodness! Thinking quickly, Blossom vanished as speedily as she could remember in Trollican, and left poor Thimble in the hands of her captors. Oh dear! Peering through the holes of the net, Thimble could make out a small group of trolls looking very pleased with themselves. while another rushed off to try and capture Blossom.
What have we caught ourselves this time?
Inquired one of the trolls, stepping forward and poking Thimble in the arm.
Ouch! Do you mind?
Snapped Thimble, and the trolls all laughed with delight.
A speaking creature,
said the troll who had poked her.
A very small speaking creature,
said another who looked a little disappointed.
We must capture the other one.
And he lifted the net holding Thimble onto his back, and they all started walking towards the flats. Put me down at once, demanded Thimble as she swung from side to side. But no one was listening to her, and through the net she could see the trees grow smaller as they travelled to the other side of the flatlands and back to the camp of Doran's trolls. I know, it's not good. Through the dusty plains marched the trolls with their prisoner, not stopping until they had reached the other side where the trees grew thicker and taller than any other part of the realm. Onward they walked until they came to a clearing in the middle of the woods where there was a huge campfire with dips in the soil, all around it where trolls had been sleeping. Thimble knew she had no chance of escaping whilst she was tied up in a net, and she couldn't reach anything to try and cut herself free, not even the shield Perry had given her, which had been knocking against her side as the trolls marched. Finally, the trolls stopped and put down the net holding Thimble and tied a big knot in the top so as to ensure that she couldn't escape. Oh, goodness. Slowly, more trolls came out of the woods to see what interesting things the away party had brought back this time. They all crowded around and snorted at Thimble, who was not at all happy about her personal space being invaded. Well, no. Could you please not all stare at me? Has nobody ever told you that it's rude? Said the angry fairy, who was feeling very small indeed next to the towering torsos of the growing crowd. One of them snorted at her even louder whilst another just laughed. And it was becoming very clear to Thimble that manners were most certainly not top of the trolls' agenda. Well, no.
Let me see,
said a voice from the back.
Get out of the way,
said another to the side, whilst another burly troll came pushing through from the back of the crowd. Soon they were all arguing and elbowing each other, and Thimble was suddenly not centre of attention anymore as the group of trolls broke out into a storm of arguments and insults. Goodness! Thimble desperately tried to reach her sword so she could cut her way out of the net, but try as she may, she just couldn't reach it. The arguing and shouting became louder and louder, and at one point Thimble feared that she may be trampled on, when suddenly there came an almighty bellow from the trees.
What is this bickering?
Asked the voice, which clearly belonged to a very, very big troll indeed, and Thimble soon decided that she was in no rush to find out who.
Why do my men fight like this in times of peace?
Inquired the voice again, and the group of trolls began to disperse, bowing their heads as they stepped back. Walking forward, the huge towering troll picked up the net holding Thimble, and she could see from all the books she had read that it was Doran himself.
Goodness!
Exclaimed Thimble and fell backwards with surprise. Doran had not come across a fairy in all the years since his councils with Queen Rosebud, and was as surprised as Thimble to see one on his home turf. But his surprise soon turned into suspicion.
Why do you come to my land and cause disharmony with my men, fairy girl? I have not sent out an invite, so you intrude,
said Doran, prodding the shield by Thimble's side with interest.
I
was all Thimble could think to say. She was just about to explain about coming to find Blossomberry when she remembered how Blossom had come to be needing to be found in the first place and stopped. Well, yes. The impatient troll snorted in her face, and all her hair flew back as the gust nearly took her off her feet again. Doran was in no mood for visitors at the best of times, and now he had one who not only wasn't invited, but who also couldn't seem to tell him how she had got there. And this was not good. Not good at all. No.
What is this shiny plate you carry?
He inquired, pulling at the shield. He seemed mesmerised by its jewels and poked them as if he expected them to do something. It's my shield, given to me by my dear friend Periwinkle, said Thimble bravely. Not much liking being poked and prodded. Well, no. The group of trolls behind Doran were now growing restless and had started stamping their feet as if marching on the spot. Doran raised his hand to the trolls, and the feet were still again.
My men grow restless and hungry, so tonight we will feast, and I will eat from this plate thing you carry,
said Doran, staring into Thimble's wide eyes. This really annoyed Thimble. It is not a plate. It is a very special shield, she insisted. But this only infuriated Doran more, who had heard enough for the day.
Do not test me. I am going to eat from this plate, and that will be that.
And Thimble realised that on this occasion she had best keep her opinions to herself. Oh, goodness, those are the calling birds. I do not like leaving Thimble in such a predicament. I thought all the danger from her travels had been long gone and over, but no, it seems that she's got herself in a right kerfuffle. Oh, dear, dear, dear. I think I would rather she was stuck in the sticky bluebell plant. Dear, 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 what on earth is she going to do now? And where's Blossom in all of this? Yes, I know I'm coming. I'm just a bit excited. Goodness. Anyway, I shall rush back next time and hopefully not get caught in anything on the way. Still very, very traumatised from that wind tunnel. Yes, I'm coming. Anyway, please take care. These are very strange times, and I don't want any of you getting caught in any wind tunnels. Now, take care until next time. And remember, don't stop believing. Especially in you.